Hello, people. My name is Mohini Dey, and you're watching my brand new talk show, What a Melophile Wants. Now, today we're going to go deep talking about transformative individuality with a deeper sense of inspiration that flows into it. So, I believe that the effectiveness of the final product is based on the creativity/slash innovation that flows into it. Today, I have someone who has mastered the perfect blend of joy, clarity, enthusiasm, and love in the expressions of gifts we have. He is an American bassist known for his extraordinary work with Talus, Steve Vai, David Lee Roth, Mr. Big, Niacin, etc., and many, many more. Please welcome the incredible Billy Sheehan.
Wonderful.
Awesome. I'm so happy to have you, Billy. I'm so
It's a
happy.
pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, so, firstly, how are you doing in this quarantine zone?
Where I'm doing good. I'm home alone with my kitty cat. Uh,
Oh,
my wife is away on business, but me and his name is Rebel. Maybe
oh.
he'll come by here later, and I'll show him that he had
That's
his
cool.
he had his 1 year old birthday on May 1st.
Oh, that's
He's
cool.
just a young boy, but he's a wild man. He's great, and so we're
Oh
having a
my
time.
God.
Then I'm
That's
working
great.
around the house a lot, and I'm working on all my bases. I've got a lot. Since we
I
moved to
see.
Nashville.
I see. Oh my God. It's like a whole store behind you.
Since we moved to Nashville, we have so much more room, so I can bring all my bases and bring
Oh,
them
so you're
out.
in Nashville.
Yeah, I moved to Nashville
Oh wow. So
about,
very
about
close to
oh, two
Victor, I
years.
guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first question to you, Billy, is since we were talking about transformative individuality with a deeper sense of inspiration that flows through it, I want you to give a deeper outlook on what individuality is to you and how did it transform over the years. Now, we all are our own individuals. We have our own voices, we have our own tonality, voices, and sound that we have found over the years, and we still transform and evolve over the years, right? I want you to give a little deeper outlook on who were your influences and where did you pick up these inspirations from? Who were your inspirations and how did it influence you on your transformative individuality?
Oh, good question. We all learn from those who come before us, even as much as we learn how to speak and how to walk and how to put a sentence together. And their life is a continuing education from birth to death, and maybe beyond, or maybe before.
Yeah.
So that education continues. I, when I was very young, I listened to music. My mom had great taste in great music. She listened to great singers, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, old school, different
Mhm.
generation, but they were all amazing. So I was very lucky to be around high quality music and great songs and brilliant musicians. So that helped. So when my generation, I was a little young, but when the Beatles came out, that began the quest for me.
How
And
old were
around,
you then?
that was in 1964, so I was 11.
Oh wow, that's cute.
I was just a little kid. But the cool thing about that happened in America, and it happened all over the world really, is there was a band explosion.
Oh,
Every neighborhood had bands, and every group of kids had a band and a drum set and guitars. And so in our neighborhoods around where I lived in Buffalo, New York, as you'd walk down the streets in the summer, you'd hear a band in the distance, and after you pass them, you'd hear another one off in the distance.
oh
So
wow.
man, every neighborhood had two or three bands. And
That's
so in our
amazing.
neighborhood, we were lucky because one of the best bands in town was right around the corner from me. And
Mm.
they practiced in the basement so I could hear them.
Oh
And
wow.
the guy who lived there, his name was Joe. He was a bass player. And I wanted to be like Joe because Joe was cool. He had cool cut, had
Yeah.
drove a Triumph motorcycle, had a beautiful
Oh,
girlfriend. So I
cool.
wanted to be like Joe.
Right.
So that was, in a simplistic, childish way, that was the beginning of opening myself up
Right.
to being influenced by things that I wanted to be or wanted to be like.
Right.
So later on, as I saw other musicians and heard other kinds of music, it affected me, and I wanted to know that. I wanted to know more about it. I wanted to play. One of the first bands outside of the Beatles that I got into was a band called the Yardbirds.
Right.
Yardbirds are famous because they had three great guitarists, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, and Eric Clapton.
Right.
They also had an amazing bass player. His name was Paul Samwell Smith, and he sometimes gets overlooked, but he had all these brilliant bass lines, and he would do call and response back and forth with Jeff Beck or Eric Clapton on bass, and it was just really a great player. So that was a big influence. Then after that, it was still the about maybe 67 or 68, and the Vanilla Fudge came out. They were a band out of New York City, and their bass player Tim Bogert was amazing. He was all over the place and brilliant, and he was a huge influence on me. But then all kinds of things influenced my playing, not only bass.
Right.
And I don't just say this because you're Indian, but it's a true thing. I very early got into Indian music.
Wow.
The Beatles opened up the door to Indian music for many, many people.
True.
I remember getting Ravi Shankar records.
Ravi Shankar, yes.
As a very, very young kid. And absolutely was fascinated. And so even now on my bass, I do a lot of things that are...
I hear you, yeah.
A lot of drone note. Now Bach did it too with the pedal tone where one note stays and others around it.
Right.
It was a huge influence on me. And I remember also when I first moved to LA in 1985, the cassette that stayed in my car most was Al Shankar, a violinist, Indian violinist.
Right.
And that was just an astounding, I think the name of it was... I forgot the name of the record. Who's to Know? I think it was what it was. Who's to Know?
Okay, yeah.
And it was a noteworthy record for me because there was not a single questionable note. All the wild, incredible improvisation he did, I never heard a single note that didn't make perfect sense to me.
Right.
So that's an example of another instrument affecting you on yours, no matter what it is.
Absolutely.
Piano players, sax players affect drummers. Affect each other or can.
Totally.
So the early on, I like the fact that I was influenced by others, and we do copy others. I heard a great story recently about how the grand master painters, European masters, when they would learn, they would copy another guy's painting. They try and copy it exactly.
Absolutely. In fact, I was going to ask a question about that, but yeah, go on.
Copying is so important. And there's a famous author in English, Hunter S. Thompson, and he wrote some very famous books. I forgot the book that he copied, but he took an old classic, like by Tolstoy or some famous author, and sat down at the typewriter and copied the whole book by hand, typewriter, to get the idea what it would feel like to write a book that great.
Right.
So not only musicians, but writers, painters, everybody, to copy is the beginning of your creativity in many ways.
Absolutely. So true.
Oh, I don't want to copy
So would
anybody.
you do the right. Would you did you do the same thing when you were a kid growing up? And even now, like today, do you go back, if you listen to something great, would you go back and try to pick it up?
Absolutely. I've got a list of songs that I want to sit down with. I'm always a big fan of the Brandenburg Concertos at Johann Sebastian Bach, and I've learned pieces of all of them, not an entire piece, but a viola solo in one of them, the main theme in another, and it's just a great exercise to sit down and copy that. I may never use it. Maybe I'll throw a little bit of it in the solo.
Right. But it's so nice to educate yourself with studying somebody's solo and to see what modes they've used and why they've used and all these other possibilities that one can do to make the same meaning or even your own meaning at the end of the day, you know?
I agree. And then I grew up playing in a copy band. We played cover songs for years, hundreds of songs. And we had to perform them, sing and play them every night. And it was the best training in the world, because that's what the Beatles did. The Beatles were a copy band. Their first album has Twist and Shout, A Taste of Honey, Please Mister. They're all copy songs. Right. So later on, they became some of the greatest writers in the world, but from being a copy band.
Right.
Pretty interesting.
Sometimes what happens is people, it's especially the newcomers who just put their first feet on on our industry, and then they start copying things, which, like you said, is the first step to building your own sound and constructing, having your own individuality, and making that decision of, okay, this is what I like, this is what I like, this is what I like, and I infuse it together. This is my own sound, right? They sometimes forget, and they just end up copying musicians and sounding exactly like them. I guess they don't know what is the right balance of quantity and quantity of how much to take from different people.
Exactly. And there is a point where you have to understand that it's time for your own voice. But for myself, I never tried to have my own voice. And
Really?
I never tried to have my own style. They just happened.
Now that
Because
you say, even I actually didn't, that was never my motto. I just
exactly.
enjoyed listening to you and Stu Ham and Victor Wooten and all these amazing bass players, and I just kept picking things up, and then I just kept practicing, and then one day I had my sound.
There you go. I think sometimes people make that mistake. I'll get emails from people. So how do I get my sound? And I go, just learn songs and play the song. Your
Yeah.
sound will happen eventually.
And not just play the songs, but feel them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's important. We used to do like the Who live at Leeds, the medley from that album. I'll turn this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Not too loud, though. So, for talk about my generation, and John Ellis will do a solo. And I would just learn it. And each night I wouldn't do it exactly right. I started to, because we're playing in bars. We played 21 nights in a row one time.
Mm-hmm.
We played three full shows in a day once. So we're playing so much. After what, I would start to improvise and move it around. And it was basically John's solo, but it started to move it around. But I didn't even realize it. And then later on, it became a thing. I like to do it exactly like he does it now.
Right. But over the years, I guess that's what, when the foundation kicks in, your foundation is so strong that even when you try to copy people, it wouldn't sound exactly the same. You would hit the right notes, but you would still have your own individuality through what you're playing, right? That's so amazing. That's a lovely answer. So now that we are quarantined, what do you practice since you have all this time to yourself? You being such a busy musician, always being on road, touring, what was your practice routine like then? How would you find time during all the touring? And now that you have all this time to yourself, what is your practice routine like?
Another good question. Well, when I'm on tour, I usually get into the venue around noon. My guy sets up my little amp, and I go in there and with a coffee, and I start, and I play and play and play and play and play. About 4 p.m. Sound check. Sound check. Come back, practice a little more, and then I get ready. As soon as I hear the opening act start, then I get dressed. Then I go
really? So you practice till that time?
Almost all the time, the whole time.
Wow.
Warming up, and then when I practice, when I begin, it's usually awful. My hands aren't warmed up, and I just have to get up to my level that I want to get to. But then once I get there, I'll do a little work on some new ideas, and then after that, I'll just play.
That's amazing.
So it's kind of the utility of getting your hands in shape to start, warming up, then fine-tuning some of your playing,
right,
and then play, and then create. And I always have my little iPhone with me, so
when I come recording everything,
I'll put selfie video on, and I'll make sure to.
That's amazing. I do that too. Not the selfie, but I just put the audio recording on. Yeah.
Sometimes I can't tell from hearing what I'm doing, so I gotta make sure I see it.
The positioning and the shape, right? Yeah, that happens sometimes. Yeah.
So, I work a lot at it. I practice. So now, out in my garage, I have an amp set up. It's not loud. It's pretty quiet. And I open the doors, and we have squirrels and chipmunks. So I throw peanuts out there, and they come, while I'm sitting there practicing, and I keep some peanuts on my shirt.
So you're giving like a live show to them. They can watch you play.
That's my audience. So they're very shy because I live in the woods, not far from where Victor lives, and so the animals are wild animals. They're not like a squirrel in a city park. It's used to people, so they're very, very shy. Right. So now I've already got them coming up right up to me now. So they're coming, they're at my feet, and I take a peanut out. They're a little nervous. They're looking at me. I give them a little peanut, and they take it, and so I think in a few weeks I'll be feeding them by hand. So.
Oh, that's so cute. That's amazing. Yeah, that's interesting what you just said. Like you would practice till so and so time, and then just before, like an hour before the show, almost, right? You still holding the bass an hour before the show, and then you do like what, a 2.5 hour, 3 hour concert?
Yeah, easily 2 hours. So and I gotta practice I gotta be careful that my hand doesn't cool down.
Yeah, it stays warmed up. Right.
That happens when I do a bass clinic. I'll come out, I'm all warmed up, I'll play, then I start talking. I'm talking for 15 minutes, half an hour. Now my hands are cooled off. Then somebody, how do you play? And I gotta quick warm up again.
So are there any exercises that you do to keep your flexibility of your fingers?
Absolutely. A million. There's a whole bunch of things that I do. I'm going to move this down a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
I consider this to be like a box. 4 and 4. 4 notes up, 4 notes across. And so I'll do exercises that. Now that's good for the right hand too, because I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So you're using all the 3 fingers.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll use sometimes I use 4. Sometimes.
Oh wow.
Or there's different ways of doing it, of course.
Right.
So every imaginable configuration that I can do in that box, I try to do.
Okay.
So just going up, reverse, one at
semi, yeah.
And then reverse, backwards, across, backwards.
Wow.
But I do them real precisely. I'll do 2 or 4 of each one, reverse it, do the other way.
It's like reps, working out. Yeah. It's like reps.
Exactly. Very similar, because I hate to make an analogy between weightlifting and music, but you really do need to get those. It's muscles, and it's muscle control.
Right.
And later on, when I'm playing, somewhere in the pattern that I'm doing, somewhere those patterns will be in there. Totally. So just by working them out here, I've kind of created a little machine out of my hand that will do anything I need it to. Right. So when it comes time to play, you forget all that, because that's not, and I always make it a point, that's not music. What I just did is not music at all. And some people make the mistake of making finger exercises into music. They're not. So you want to be able to be free. The only time you're not free is when your hands won't do what your mind wants.
Yeah, so that's synchronization.
Let's make a machine out of your hands that can do anything. Then it's time for you to play. Right. These don't hold you back. Right. You have that freedom. Your hands can do anything you want them to.
Totally. Now, based on what you just said, when you said that, it doesn't need to be your muscle memory, all these finger exercises, otherwise it won't be free, right? How much of your playing in your gigs, especially when you're soloing or improvising, is completely improvised over chops and patterns that you have probably worked out before? And if it's both, then how do you decide on that balance?
I will repeat certain things solo to solo. but it's only by chance, and I don't.
Okay, you don't plan it.
I don't plan it. I don't think it, and
Not even the start and the end. Like, okay, this is the time signature I'm going to focus on when I start, and then I'm going to end it with this time signature, or I'm going to start with this mode and end it with this mode. Whatever I do in between is story.
no, I just kind of I make it up each time, and that,
Oh wow.
there's good to that and there's bad to that. The bad
Yeah.
to that is sometimes you'll have a bad night
Yeah.
because it just won't happen.
Right. Right.
Other nights you will have an absolutely magical moment.
Magical moment. Yeah.
And that is so important to me to have those moments that I don't like to calculate it out because they will crowd those moments out.
But what if you have the time, like say you have 3 days and you have just one song to play and you have a solo, then what do? Do you plan out a little bit or you just go for it?
No, I'll just kind of let nature take its course.
And has it always been this way as a kid
Yes.
growing up? Like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
just, or is it something that happened over the years? Like you decided, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to be spontaneous.
There was a song called Mr. Big.
Yes, yes.
Where we got the name from.
Uh-huh.
There's a big long bass solo in the middle of it.
Uh-huh, yeah.
And so in about 1972, I told the guys in the band, when the bass solo comes, just stop.
Just stop, yeah.
And I'll go.
Uh-huh.
And the first time I ever did it. And they were like, are you sure? And, oh, I'm going to try. So I did, and I stopped, and I cued it back in, and I got very lucky. It worked perfectly.
No, you should have just been like, hey, I'm good. You doubt?
It was luck, believe me, not skill. So I started doing that since about 72. I've been doing unaccompanied solos, and it's good to do them over and over and over again because you really begin to learn what works and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. And as much as it's improvised, there still are things that I will gravitate towards, certain moves and certain things.
Right.
But they're never the same. That's why it's very difficult for me to learn my own music because I got to go back and learn it. There's a song, there's a bass piece on the Talus record, Sink Your Teeth Into That. It's an unaccompanied solo called NV43345, which is my name, Sheehan, upside down.
Oh.
And I had planned on that record to do a big distortion feedback harmonic solo, but my amp, I had trouble with my amp that day in the studio.
Okay.
So I just plugged into a completely clean tone.
Oh.
No distortion, nothing.
No.
And I did the solo like that. And I thought, oh man, I wish 40 years later, I'm glad I did it like that because it was to this day, people, they look at that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that solo. Yeah. I love it. I remember copying it as a kid growing up. Yeah. Trying to study why you did that. What is that?
So
that's
for me to go back and
you were the person. Sorry?
For me to go back and learn that is very tough.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's hard. It's hard to go back to the roots, right? Like when I watch my old videos and I'm like, I used to play better. Why do I do this now? Like, does that happen to you? Like you watch your old videos and you're like, oh wow, I did that. Why don't I use that anymore?
I'm very fortunate. There's a guy on Facebook. All he does is hunt down old videos of me on YouTube. And he's found stuff I've never even seen before, especially things from about like 1980 to 85 was a big time for me because I was really, starting to get some, recognition, and I was on fire and I was pushing hard to make it, and we were just working really hard. So I see a solo from that era and I go, I don't even know how I did that, and it actually revitalized a lot of parts and licks for me because I go, oh, I should do that again. I haven't done that for 20 years and bring that back. So it's interesting to see, but it takes me a while to figure it out. It's funny.
True. And say, for example, say you did a gig yesterday and you have a gig today, something that you were approaching yesterday while you were soloing, say, okay, I want to use melodic minor in your head, you're thinking about it and you approach it, and it didn't register the way you wanted it to register. Would you try it the very next day, or would you do something completely else?
I might. I'm. It's for me. It's very important to never to get stuck in the same idea. So the fact that I improvise my solos a lot,
Yeah.
me, I'm saying to myself, I've got to do some that are completely worked out. So because I don't, that's why I enjoy playing with Steve Vai, because in some of his songs he wants it exactly one way, exactly how it was on the record.
Wow, that must be hard for you. Everything that you
So
said
that's not what I
before,
do.
that's not what you do.
So I was glad to do it because it forced me to do something that I don't normally do.
Right.
And I believe you really can expand your playing if you start to do things that you don't do. You know, I don't play like that. Well, start, and it'll open up another door for you.
True, true.
You know?
Same for me. I am, I would say, somewhat the person you are when it comes to soloing on stage every night, different, and taking risks and not being stuck on what I did yesterday, right? But when it came to playing with a band like Bees, the Japanese band that I recently joined last year, they want exactly the same, you know? So that was really challenging for me, I
Yeah,
guess.
they must have hated me because mine was different every night.
Yeah, I guess they're very scripted and they want it to
Yeah,
sound like if tonight sounds the best, they want it to sound the same every night.
there's a reason for that. There's a show business reason for that.
Oh,
Uh, if you improvise, like I said before, sometimes you have a good night, sometimes you have a bad night.
bad night, yeah.
You've got 80,000 people in a soccer
They
stadium that
don't
paid
want
a
to have a
lot.
bad night. Yeah.
You don't want to have a bad night.
Yeah.
That's why I remember David Lee Roth saying the same thing every night and making the same joke at the same place every night. And
Yeah.
we would laugh. 'Cause it was,
But then
oh,
it would come to a point where you're like, ah, that face.
it was still funny. But if you improvise humor, some things are going to be funny, some things are not. So
Right.
why take a chance? And it's
Yeah.
very true. A lot of people in show business, you want to do what you know works. Comedians do the same things. They'll tell jokes,
True.
tell four jokes. Joke number three didn't work. So
Yeah.
they'll do joke one, two, a new one, and four. Now joke three works, so we'll keep it just
Right.
like that. You
Right.
know, they'll
Right.
change a couple words, but
Yeah.
you got to do it right. So it's wise when you have such a huge audience and a situation like that.
Right,
To
right, right. Totally. They don't want to take risks with such a big audience.
plus, there's lighting cues and sound
Oh
men and
yeah. Oh my God. So many and so many intricate details, not
yeah. So,
just playing involved, but so many other things.
but then
Just even like a air blowing.
exactly that. But then you go play the baked potato, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's like opposites. Totally opposites.
Make it up.
Yeah. So cool. So cool. What do you enjoy more? Do you enjoy the open space more, or do you enjoy the scripted space more?
As a musician, I really love a tiny little place with people up close.
Ah,
Uh,
okay.
but there's no, as you know now, you've played huge shows. There's nothing like being out there with 80,000
It's two
people.
different feelings, no?
It's quite an amazing sensation. But the one-on-one intimate small clubs are I still love. That's how I grew up. I playing in
Right,
clubs. It
right.
helped.
Good. Well said. So,
Cool.
my another question is, what do you think a musician actually wants?
What do they want?
Yeah, what do you think a musician actually wants? Because sometimes there are these misconceptions around going on that, oh, that's a lower level musician, that's a higher level musician, oh, that's famous, he's not, she's not, blah 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 blah, so many categories, and then people forget to treat everyone equally, right? So what do you think a musician actually wants? Any musician.
I think it's as varied as there are humans. But I think some things are very important. Uh, if you're looking to become rich and famous, I don't know if music is your best way.
True.
First of all, I think music is the greatest art form, and I don't like to see it tampered with or fooled around with, or used as a tool to get you rich or famous. To me, it's kind of sacred as an art form. I like to see people love it and know whether they're poor or rich.
True.
And I think it's important for musicians to understand the real goal is your personal love and satisfaction with your music, songs, and performance. Whatever happens after that is luck or guesswork, because there's some amazing players that are poor. Some brilliant composers that live day to day. They have no money saved. I've seen many great players that have nothing, and I've seen players that are rich beyond your wildest dreams that they're not that good.
They're not that good.
They don't even really care that much about the music.
Yeah, true.
So I think if you really do want it and love it, once you achieve what you want musically and love it, you're already rich right there. There's a richness there.
Musically rich.
That no money can buy.
Totally.
No matter how rich you are, you cannot buy that. And very often, a byproduct of that is other people do like it. And if they do like it, they probably will want to pay you to perform that.
Right.
So
Totally. Okay. Do you believe in destiny, or do you think we choose our own path?
I believe you create your own destiny. I believe you are the master of your destiny.
Same.
And I believe you can affect it any way possible. And I've seen videos of people with no arms playing guitar with their feet.
Right.
Of people that have just a terrible, awful, sad situation in life, but they conquer it and can do something impossible. And so I have both hands, both feet, a fully functioning physical body. There should be nothing I can't do, so there should be nothing I could complain about. And anything, I believe anything that I play, anyone can play if you work at it hard enough. And I really do believe anything is possible. If you want to spend the time, you want to make the sacrifice, anything is possible.
Totally. So true. Okay, this next question is picked up from the comment section on some of your YouTube videos. Do you know Mohini Dey? So I'm not going to ask you that, of course, but I'm going to ask you, when did you hear of me? When was the first time you heard of me?
Stu Ham told me about you.
Really?
Hey, Bill, you got to come down to Baked Potato. I'm down here with a bunch of guys, and there's a girl named Mohini Dey. You got to come down. You got to see this girl play. And unfortunately, I couldn't come down, but that was the first time I was like, oh, really? So, and then I think someone else mentioned to me, and then I think I saw a little article online and I saw a picture.
Who did we meet before that? I think we met before at Steve's home party.
No, that was after the thing with Stu.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And then I think I saw a video of you and was very, very impressed. And then I was so glad to know you were coming to Steve's. It was so I get a chance to meet. Because many times when you meet another player, you meet at a gig and it's hard to talk and it's chaos. So I'm so glad you were there. I got to get a chance to actually meet you.
Yeah, and I still remember our beautiful conversation we had that night.
Beautiful. Yeah, really great. Yeah. And I'm so glad to see that an Indian musician get such great worldwide recognition, because like I said before, I'm a big fan of Indian music. And recently, kids always send me their songs. And so many from India, I get a lot of email. And they sent me their song, and I listened to it. And it sounded just like, typical Western European kind of metal thing. And it sounds good, and it's good, but is there, I'd love to hear an Indian influence in there. I'd like some of your culture in there. It would be great. Right. And so I'm so glad that you are known around the world.
Oh, that's sweet.
The world needs to know more Indian musicians, I think. That's beautiful.
Yeah, that's true. I think India is so culturally diverse. That's where
Yes.
all the different kinds of music floats around in different cities. Every city has its own taste, like our flavors in masalas, you
Oh, yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in
Yeah.
India a few years ago with Mr. Big, and it was quite an amazing adventure. So I always, it's always been fascinating to me. I have a lot of Indian art in my home and
Wow.
things of that
The next
nature.
time I come, I'm gonna get you some new ones.
Oh, beautiful! How wonderful that is.
That's awesome. That was lovely. It was so lovely talking to you after such a long time and to just
My,
hang.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this one is a rapid fire, like I said, so it's gonna be like real quick.
Okay.
Yeah. If you could switch to any other instrument, what would it be?
Drums.
Drums. Yeah, me too. I'm actually starting to play drums. I'm like, I need to play drums.
It's great for every bass player to learn drums because once you learn that drum language, it's
So
much
good.
more
And I
cohesive.
guess we, being bass players, we want to feel that bottom end even more.
Yeah, it's all about the drums. One of the
It's
very
all
first
about.
things I learned on bass was when the drummer hits a drum, you play a bass note. That's how.
Yeah,
That's 90% of it.
that's cool. That's so cool. Okay, what is the worst compliment you have received so far?
The worst.
The worst one.
Uh, well, recently a lunatic, a nutcase, got in touch with me, and he
Okay.
sent me an email, and he said he wanted to do this song and wanted to fly me out to LA and pay me all this money. And I said, well, let me, I'll consider it. I'll
Yeah.
consider it. And
Mhm.
then the emails got weirder and weirder. Finally, he wrote to me and said he didn't believe it was me. There's no way that this is Billy Sheehan. And for me, that's a button because I spend so much time on social media. I answer everybody's email. I
Oh,
post my personal life, and I'm open to everyone. So it's obvious it's me. Facebook verified, Blue Dot. I'm all Twitter verified. I'm verified. It's
yeah.
really me, and I crush
Wow.
and shut
So
down
you
all the
reply to everybody?
pretty much everybody.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I called the guy, and just because I was a little upset that he didn't think it was me.
Right.
And he said, and he got really insulting, and he's a nutcase. Matter of fact, he tried to contact another famous bass player, and I
Oh.
sent the warning out to amongst our friends, that
There
be
it
careful.
is. Boom, boom.
Kind of dangerous too. I've had that happen before.
Yeah.
But he said to me, "Well, I don't want you playing on my record after all. Besides, I'm a better bass player than you are." And
Oh
and
shit.
and then he said, "Besides, live, you're just like a bobblehead. I need somebody that like performs live."
Oh my god.
And I just said, "Bro, have a nice life." And that was that.
Yeah, no need to explain anything, trying to make him realize that he made a mistake or spoke badly, because he's in no sense of understanding. No, it's not there. The roof is not there.
Yeah, I get through the years, I've gotten such a small percentage of wacky people or hateful people. Very small. And many times when I engage them, they change. Somebody just write to me, "You suck." Nothing, just "You suck." And I write back, "Hey, you don't even know me, man. Why would you send it?" And they're, "Oh, sorry, man. I didn't know you'd read it. I got all your records." And, so a lot of times, even out of all the email I've gotten, that the small amount that has been negative, generally that becomes an even smaller amount when I just talk to them. So why would you say something like that?
Yeah, why would you say something like that? You want to know my worst compliment received, like the worst compliment that I've received?
Yes.
So I performed my ass off and it was the best night, like one of the best performances that I did. And then I come off, I'm like packing my pedals and everything, and I'm taking my cable and my amplifier and stuff. And this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Nice dress." I'm like, after all that, you noticed just the dress?
Nice.
I found it so offending, and oh my god, I did not answer anything. I just gave him a look. I'm like, okay, and then I just
So next time
went.
I see you play and I'm coming up to you after, you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Oh my god. Oh shit.
Oh.
Yeah, it's bad. And the other one was I again another good night, and then this guy comes up to me and he's like, "Oh my God, ma'am, I'm such a big fan of yours," and he takes a picture, and then he goes away. And this guy, before he even asked for a picture, he fell flat on the floor, touching my feet. Okay, and I'm like, "Whoa, what's going on? Get up, get up, get up!" You know, that's the thing. Like in India, people touch their respected people touch people's feet when they respect someone, right? So it's just a thing. Nobody follows it anymore, but some of the guys and girls, they still do. But this guy, he fell flat on the floor touching my feet, and then he gets up and he's like, I'm like, get up, get up, and he gets up and he's like, can I take a picture with you? I'm like, yeah, sure. He takes a picture, and then he goes for, like, he's going back to from where he came from, and then he turns back, and then he's like, ma'am, sorry, what's your name? I'm like, what? What just happened? Yeah,
What a
it was
book.
hilarious.
I'd love to write a book and have every artist's stories like these.
Oh my God. It would be the most funniest book in the world.
My boy.
Yeah.
Got a million of them.
Okay. What annoys you the most?
Stupidity and ignorance, bad
Yeah.
spelling, people that can't put a sentence together. I get a whole paragraph without a single period or comma in it. Hi, Billy, I like you very much, and your band is really good, and I think you should. Just come on, just try, at least try.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I grew up. I went to Catholic school when I was young, and the nuns, the Roman Catholic nuns, were pretty tough. So all of us learned how to spell and put a sentence together, and we learned our vocabulary and our sentence structure and basic things. We learned very, very good. I think it's important. I think self-education is very important.
Very important.
You can't, and it continues to this day. I still am a fan of language, learning about language and where it came from.
What languages do you speak?
I'm still working on English.
Good. Me too. I'm still working on my English, and but I think I speak pretty well, and I kind of correct myself here and there if I ever make a mistake while talking. Yeah, okay. I would say I would rate okay.
So it's interesting to see, and I study. The more I know English, the better I understand other languages, because it's related to so many things, and it's based in Latin. And a lot of Sanskrit words in English as well. A lot of Sanskrit root words in English, because the history between England and India. So I find it quite fascinating to learn more and more and more about it. And it also enables me to explain English to non-English speakers better. So sometimes people ask me, how do I say this? And I can explain, this is how, because if you say it that way, it doesn't mean the same thing. Because the colloquial meanings sometimes are difficult to translate. So I enjoy helping non-English or new English speakers to do things in the more accepted way.
I love learning new things. I love learning new phrasings, like possibilities of saying the same thing and having the same meaning. So next time I come to you, you gotta teach me.
Write down a list. I'll help you out.
Yeah, sure. Okay, tell us something personal that the whole world don't know about you.
Let's see.
Could be anything that you do in day-to-day life.
The world doesn't know about me. Oh, actually, the whole world might know, but I see him, so I'm going to grab him. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hey, little man.
Oh, Kitty!
There he is. Here's my boy.
Oh.
He's a big boy.
God. So cute. So beautiful. Hey, Kitty. Rebel. It's a boy or a girl?
Well, they're spelled the same.
Yeah.
He's
Rebel.
He was named before we got him, so we let him keep the name.
So is she a rescue?
Yes, all my cats are rescues. And he has a heart on his chest, a white heart.
Oh, wow.
And, we had a cat named Spooky I had her for 18 years, and on Thanksgiving evening she passed away.
Oh my God.
And so we were destroyed. We were devastated. my wife and I, we cried about it every day. And so just before Christmas, my wife said, could we go look at another cat?
Yeah.
And I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We went to the orphanage, and I went in, and there were cages. And in the lower cage, I bent down. He reached up and put his hand on my face.
Oh,
My
so
face.
instant connection.
So I said, you win. You're coming.
Yeah.
So he fixed our broken hearts.
Wow.
He's
I
a
just
wild.
adopted a dog too. I saw this dog on the street just roaming around, full wounded and like full of maggots, and somebody beat her up very badly. And I could tell that she's a mother because, you know, her nipples were quite out there, and I could tell she's a mother, and I could tell that she was around 4 or 5 years old. And I immediately took her to the vet and got her treated. I think over the period of 1 month, she got so much better, and she was shaking. She wouldn't even allow me to touch her when I got her first. And then after 1 month, she's like our baby now. She's here roaming around, sleeping with me in the same bed, taking showers with me. Yeah, she's too cute. And she talks, like her eyes are so expressive. And
Wow.
before that, I already had a Chow Chow, actually. Do you know about this breed, Chow Chow?
The what?
It's a breed called Chow Chow.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so I already had a dog, which was Chow Chow, and she was a
They have a
puppy.
black tongue?
Yeah, they have a black tongue, and they look like lion.
Yeah.
So my Chow Chow is like still 6 months. She's still a puppy. So I was like, are they gonna get together? Are they gonna be friends? Are they gonna be enemies? I don't know. Let me try. Because I couldn't give the new one up. I got so attached to her. I was like, okay, my fiance, you know, who I call Babe, he was like, okay, we'll find her a good home. We're not in the stage of taking care of two dogs. It's like two responsibilities. You go away on tours and I'm all alone here. How am I gonna take care of them and all that? I'm like, it's okay, we'll figure it out. So we ended up keeping both of them then. Now they're like best friends.
Great. That's good. I'll keep each other company when you're away too. Yeah, that would be my personal thing that I guess nobody knows, but we cried like babies when we lost our Spooky. We had to put her to sleep, so I held her while the doctor administered the thing that
Right. It's hard. It's hard. I've been there too. I lost a dog with whom I grew up with. She was a mother too, and I grew up with 7 dogs actually, 5 Pomeranians, 1 Doberman, and like 1 German Shepherd. Like it was a full zoo in my house.
same with me.
Yeah, they were like my brothers and sisters, you know. So we grew up, and then one by one, each one kept dying because they were old, and I kept growing bigger. They kept growing, becoming smaller because they were obviously becoming old, and they were not in. They were just could. The mother was the most attached to me actually. Her name was Kitty. Yeah, my mother
I
named
grew
her
up. We had Newfoundland dogs. They're the giant.
Oh, that's my next one. I'm gonna get a Newfoundland.
185 pounds. He
Oh
was.
my god!
Giant.
But aren't they so cute? Oh my god!
People thought I would walk them. People thought it was a bear. They would pull their car over and say, "Can we see the bear?"
Can we see the bear? Oh my god!
We had minor birds. We had snakes, cats, bird, everything. We had every animal you could.
Amazing. Yeah. My next move is I want to buy a big land and I want to split it up 50-50. One side is going to be just dogs, cats, birds, all animals, all rescue ones who don't have home. And then on the other side would be my home. I'm going to get my parents from Mumbai. I live in Bangalore right now with my fiance. With this whole COVID-19 situation, it's been so hard. I haven't seen my parents in the past like some 6-7 months, you know. Yeah, I came back from the Japan tour, and then after that, I never really saw them. Like maybe one day I spent with them, and then I came here, started spending time with my fiance because I was away for so long. Yeah, but yeah, so nice talking to you after such a long time.
It's my pleasure. I'm so glad you got in touch with me to do this. If you want to, if need me for anything else, just let me know. And if you when you come through Nashville, please let me know.
Totally, totally. Yeah.
We'll come see you play.
Yeah.
Stay healthy here.
Yes, yes. I eat a lot, so should be okay. I think that's where I get my strength from, all the meat that I eat. I don't eat any vegetables. You know that?
Wow.
That's bad, I know, but like I can't.
I'm the same way. I have a meat with almost every meal. But lately I've been tempering it a little bit, but I don't know. But I eat good quality meat, all organic, all proper,
Right.
the good stuff,
Yeah. Same.
Not McDonald's or anything like that.
I'm like a carnivore. Like I have to have meat in every meal. Otherwise, I feel like I haven't eaten anything.
Same
Then the best photos won't come out.
Yeah, exactly right.
Thank you so much.
Let's stay in touch, and hopefully I'll get to see you perform very soon.
Me too. Me too. I mean, the last performance that I saw of yours was Mr. Big at the Bloodstock Festival,
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot, so much. I was dancing in the audience. I had so much fun.
Yeah. Well, we'll be together soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Let's play together.
I love that.
That'll be lovely.
All right, my dear.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care and stay in touch.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Give my love to your wife and family.
My best to your fiance, too.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
bye-bye.